Hello, everybody. I am your host, Henry Galliett. Sorry, coming to you with our monthly show. Bring on the geekdom. I know it's monthly now. So much has happened. I'm sorry it's coming to you late, guys, but we are back with my buddy Trevor. Trevor, what is your name again, buddy? Last name. I'm sorry about
Trevor
that.
Norkey.
Norkey. That's a cool
Yeah,
last name. Anyway, so how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing all right. Just a lot has happened. And we're going to be talking about a couple of topics today. We're going to be talking about Marvel's Phase 4, finally, the unfortunate Spider-Man situation, and the state of fandom. We'll talk about all those things here on this episode. So, yeah, man, a lot has happened with Marvel in the past couple of months, and they kind of announced their Phase 4 lineup here, and I got it right up here. So there's like a lot of shows and a lot of movies. So we'll probably talk about the movies first here. So,
Okay.
first one on the docket is Black Widow. Do you guys got any? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, I'm really curious to see what they do with it, because obviously everyone's wanted a Black Widow movie, but now that she's dead, the
It
movie's
kind of
taken.
makes no point.
Yeah, the movie's taken place in the past, and I don't know how committed people will feel to that, since it's really not going to have an effect on the franchise as a
Yeah,
whole.
I do agree with that in like a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, I feel like Spider-Man should have been like the start of Phase 4, and it was for like a long time. But just this weird like interview saying, "Oh, it's the tail end of Phase 3." No, it's not. It's like it's the beginning of Phase 4, man. Like
Well,
that's really
it,
what it is,
in
in my
fairness, they did the same thing with Ant Man, and so
yeah.
honestly, like most people assumed it was just Phase 3, anyways, because
Yeah.
um, yeah, the
That's
phases are kind of like a yearly thing. But I mean, it did work as like an epilogue for
yeah.
the Infinity Saga. So
In Saga, no worries.
yeah,
My aunt can't say taco, but she says tacos, so no worries. I'm used to that. Like tortilla chips. Oh gosh, I love some tortillas. Yeah, anyway. Uh, Weird accents aside. Yeah, it's gonna. I'm not really excited for it. I'm not like dreading it or anything. It's gonna be a Marvel movie. Like
yeah,
most of them, like as much as people like to rip on the Marvel movies, most of them aren't that bad. In fact, some of them can be quite good. And I know people like to rag on them and stuff like that. We'll get into that like later in the segment. But it's just I don't know. None of these things sound like they're gonna be like the death of the MCU. They just seem they're gonna be just kind of like a build up phase there.
oh yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
there are some redeeming factors for Black Widow, at least in my
yeah,
opinion, because they're
yeah.
finally
State
introducing
Farm.
Taskmaster,
Mm, definitely.
who's a villain I've wanted to see for a long, long time.
That's gonna be really good.
And then David Harbour is going to be in it.
Oh
So
yes, dude. I like love David Harbour so much. Even in that really terrible Hellboy movie, he was quite good in that, man. Like I would
yeah, he
dare
was the
say he was
redeeming
better than
factor.
Ron Perlman in my view. That's just me. Like it was a terrible movie, but sorry, David Harbour like really shined as Hellboy, and it's kind of funny that like Hellboy and John Wick are owned by the same studio, and they had like that same actor play the guy that's like the head of the Continental. It's kind of
Oh,
funny. That would have been like their like new like John Wick, but it just like blew up in their face. And there's been a lot of shit with that movie. Like he walked off set. The director Neil Marsha, who was actually a really great director, just kind of like was sort of like mistreated on that set. But I don't know. It's really bad. All of
yeah.
that was terrible. So anyway, we're gonna move on to the Eternals, which is one that I am so curious about. They have gotten so much talent into this thing here. I'm just gonna go down the list of stuff that they've asked here. They've got uh, the big one is that they're like reuniting the Starks. Like they have Kit Harington, Richard Madden. That's gonna be awesome, and Kumail Nanjiani, Selma Hayek, Angelina Jolie. This other guy, um, Brian Tree Henry, Gemma Chan, who I think is going to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Keoghan, I hope I'm spelling that right. Aura Rindeloff, and I hope I'm going to get this one right. I'm really weird here. Ma Dong Seok, I think. I hope I'm not getting his name wrong, but that's, and last but not least, Leah McHugh. So all of these sound like really good names for like a Marvel movie, and I think this is gonna be a really good movie. I think
Oh
like I
yeah.
know people are gonna say, "Oh man, this is gonna be the downfall of the MCU, and it's gonna be like just a bland Guardians of the Galaxy." It's like, guys, like not every like fucking sci-fi Marvel movie has to be like Guardians of the Galaxy. It can be a completely different thing. It can't be like Captain Marvel, but it shouldn't be like a Captain Marvel. But I think this is gonna be kind of like a really solid movie, and it's got a great director attached to it who's done like a couple of movies that I've loved, like Cleo Zhao, I think. So she's done like The Rider, which I actually quite love, with Dave Patel. The song that brought my brothers taught me, which is one I saw like a couple of days ago. Actually, was quite good. Like nobody's heard of it, but it's a great movie, and it stars John Reddy and Irene Bedard. A great movie, and I'm really excited she's going to be taking on something like this. So yeah, do you have any thoughts on this, Trevor?
Um, Honestly, I don't know much about the Eternals from the comics. And I'm actually trying to keep it that way.
Yeah, that's great. Like,
Because I mean, with Guardians of the Galaxy, I didn't know much about them going into the movie back in 2014, 2013. All I knew was that it had a tree and a raccoon. And then I went into the movie with like not knowing much about it, and I was super entertained. And I know that they haven't selected all of the Eternals for this movie, and so I'm really curious to see why they selected the group that they did,
yeah,
and I'm really curious to see how they introduce these guys to us.
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really good. So yeah, moving on, we got Shang-Chi, which this is another one that I am like super excited about because of the director they have attached to it. So like he's done like a couple of Brie Larson movies. Who, by the way, despite like all of like the BS about the Captain Marvel thing, and the movie wasn't that great. Brie Larson is actually has a great track record of like movies actually, and
Oh, she's fantastic.
like the director of Shang Chi has actually directed a lot of those movies that she's been really great in. Like I can go down the list here, and his name is Destin Daniel Cretton, and here's some of the movies he's done. 12 term, which I think was pretty good. The Glass Castle, and I think he has another one coming up called Just Mercy. Yes, that's right. With Michael B. Jordan and Brie Larson. So yeah, that one's getting great reviews. So like I think they got a fantastic director on board, and I
Hmm.
hope it turns out good, man. I just think it's pretty good. And yeah, and the lead actor they got for Shang Chi, who like Simu Liu and
Simu
Aquafina.
Liu. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not trying to be offensive here. Like he seems like a sweetheart, honestly. He seems like a nice guy, and I know this is like a brand name, but honestly, I think that's a good thing because thing that Marvel needs to do is it need to take more risks.
I
Like,
mean, they've always done that. I mean, a lot of the actors that they have were
yeah,
not big
nobody,
actors when they picked them up. Like Chris Evans was not well known. Thor got a lot of controversy when they cast Chris Hemsworth because they were like, "Who knows this guy?"
yeah,
And even Robert Downey Jr. was an incredibly risky
yeah,
casting decision.
yeah. And Chris Hemsworth is now like a new like superstar. Like he's been in a lot of good stuff. Like he was actually in this other movie. A couple of like it came out last year and it's called Bad Times at the RAL, which is
Oh,
like
I love that movie.
I love. It's so good, and nobody wanted to go see it, which pisses me off because it's a Fox movie, and well, nobody saw it, which sucks. But oh well. So yeah, Shang Chi. Like, what do you think of this? Like, I'm
Um, I'm really excited for it. I love the title that it's
Shang.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings because it's
Yeah,
the start of like Marvel's new like absurd titles that are just
yeah.
like
It's gonna be kind of
um and I like that. But I think it's really cool that we're finally getting the Mandarin, the real one,
yeah,
because they had the controversy with Iron Man 3, and then they had the short film that released after that,
yeah,
revealing that there was a real Mandarin, and most people just
yeah,
kind of thought that it was that was just kind of a cover up so people wouldn't get mad, and then they would never actually introduce the
yeah.
or the Mandarin. Um,
Yeah, that's true.
but now he's here, and I think that's going to be uh, really cool. There's a lot of potential there, especially with him in the comics, and we actually know that there's going to be 10 rings. It's not just the name of some terrorist organization. It's actually an actual mystical item, at least as far as we can tell.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be really awesome. I'm looking forward to it so much, and hopefully it's
Yeah, it'll
another
also be
Black
cool
Panther where
since
it becomes this like big.
yeah, it'll be cool since Shang Chi's like one of those few
Yeah,
like superheroes, lead superheroes of that
yeah,
who doesn't actually have any powers.
yeah. He's
Um,
just like kind of like really good at martial arts. He's sort of like a Captain America, right? Like, wait, does he have powers, Captain
no,
America? Like, I'm not
or Captain
really.
America, yeah, he has the enhanced super soldier serum, so he's a
Yeah,
lot stronger than most humans. Like a human would not be able to survive the elevator fall in Winter Soldier.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Shang Chi's just a normal human
Yeah,
who's been
that's kind of
training for a lot of his life. So I think that'll be really cool.
That's badass, man. So yeah, okay, we're gonna go on to another one. Doctor Strange. Actually, I think we should tie in this one with the WandaVision show. Well, we're just gonna split the TV and the movies, but for this one, I think this will be one that we can talk about here. So like WandaVision and Doctor Strange are going to be connected in the multiverse of Magnus together. I'm excited for the Doctor Strange sequel, even though I wasn't like super huge on the first Doctor Strange. Like I like it. It's not like one of Marvel's like best movies, but I think like I do love Benedict Cumberbatch as like Doctor Strange. He's especially during like Infinity War and Endgame, he kind of like grew into the role. So that's
Oh yeah.
something that I like really excited for. But the thing that I'm a little bit worried about, especially with WandaVision, is that like they won't like be like their separate stories. They're just gonna be interconnected there. And again, I'm not saying like interconnectivity is bad. It's just I don't know, like it's gonna be on a streaming show, which like are people are gonna sort of like are people really gonna like buy the Disney Plus thing like in bulk because of that? I mean, I don't know. It's a little like ambitious, but it's kind of like maybe a little too ambitious. But that's
Hmm.
just me, maybe. But I don't know. Like so, like what do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge leap, and I feel like, especially for this phase, Marvel is and Disney are just putting way too much on Disney Plus in terms of the MCU because like for this phase, at least as far as they've announced now, they've got 5 movies coming out and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shows.
Eight
Um,
shows?
yeah,
Jesus Christ!
well, that includes What If, and that's
Yeah,
not really going to be essential. But most of these are part of like the MCU, and like you're going to have to watch some of them if you're going to continue watching the
yeah.
movies,
Like,
which not a lot of people are going to want to do. Not everyone's going to want to get Disney Plus. Not everyone
yeah,
is going to want to watch TV shows because TV
yeah,
shows aren't for everyone. A lot of people just want movies.
yeah. You're right of that. And speaking of like movie stuff, yeah, I don't know. It's part of the reason why I sort of like gave up on the Netflix Marvel stuff. It's because like there was just so much Marvel content out there that I just kind of got fatigued a little bit. Again, I still love
Yeah.
Marvel. It's just that's a lot of stuff and like Defenders, Ghost Rider, stuff like that. I'm just like making this like pile up list, and I'm sort of like sighing. It's like, damn it, is this too much? I mean, again,
Yeah.
I think
Honestly, sorry.
yeah.
You go on.
I don't know. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're right. Let's continue on, please.
Um, well, I think the big difference here is that
Yeah.
between the Netflix Marvel and then the Disney Plus Marvel is that with Netflix Marvel, like they set them up as like TV shows and they'd have multiple seasons.
Yeah.
And so by the end, when like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones and The Punisher are all putting out multiple seasons, eventually you just become glued to one of them rather
Yeah.
than watching like one season of each and then getting
Yeah.
to Defenders.
I get you.
Whereas what Disney Plus is doing is each series is actually only going to be like one season and they're treating
Yeah.
it basically just like a super long movie.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I like that. And then they're not going to try to like draw anything out too much because each season will just be its own complete story and then
Yeah.
that's it. We're not going to get another one. So I think that might make a difference there.
You're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So, yeah, I, yeah, but some of the stuff that they talked about with the Doctor Strange stuff, I think was pretty interesting. The fact that it's going to be more gothic horror, which I think they should have done in the first one, but I didn't really feel it. But that's just me. But yeah, I think it's going to be solid if they just let like Scott Delps and helm the reins, sort of like a James Gunn type of situation. And
Mhm.
if they like let him like go loose and Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. So moving on to the final movie, and this is one that I actually am looking forward to, and not a lot of people are because like we'll get into that segment later. But it's called Love and
Well,
Thunder.
oh
So
yeah.
I want to get your opinion of this like right away. So what do you think?
Oh, I'm in love with it. I'm a huge Taika Waititi fan.
Same here. What do you think of? Sorry, this is like thinger. What did you think of like the reactions of Jojo Rabbit, like his new movie from Fox Searchlight? Because I think I
Oh,
think
I'm really
that's
pumped for that
incredible.
movie.
Because I know like a lot of people who have already seen it and they're like, "Oh my god, it's so funny," but like it's not for everybody, and that's what I love about Taika Waititi because his movies aren't for everybody. Like Hunt for the Wilder People, like most people I know, like normal people, wouldn't watch that movie because it's like, oh, it's not like mainstream enough. But that's what I love about Taika Waititi, and
He just does
I'm
his own
excited.
thing.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this movie, and I'm a little bit bummed out he's not going to do Akira, which sucks because gosh, that would have been awesome. Like him like directing an Akira movie, that would have been badass.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're getting Thor 4, which is awesome, and I think Thor Ragnarok holds up very well. I know like a lot of it's gotten some flack over the years, but I
Yeah.
think it's really awesome. So yeah,
Um, I
yeah,
enjoyed Thor Ragnarok. Like even looking back on it, like sometimes I even question like how did that movie happen? Like it's so different from the rest of the MCU.
yeah,
Like it's just absolutely an enigma. Obviously, it won't be an enigma now since we're getting a second one.
yeah.
I mean, Thor Ragnarok was really good. On my list ranking all of the movies, though, it is kind of low, sadly, and that's
Oh no
mostly
worries. Sort of like an
because
Iron Man 3.
the story isn't too fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but like the villain part just kind of feels
Yeah,
cliche
I will
Marvel.
agree with you on that. I don't think like
Um,
Kate Blanchett's like hella
yeah,
holds up
like
well.
that part of it really dragged the movie down.
That is true. I will agree with you on that part. But yeah, um I think for the most part, most of the movies have I think most of Taika Waititi's movies have been quite good, and it's sort of like another
Oh yeah.
Shane Blacken situation where it's sort of like it's a good movie, but it's not a good Marvel movie. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not a big Shane Black guy, but yeah.
Oh, Shane Black's awesome. Like the Nice Guys, man. If you didn't like the
I
movie,
mean,
that's
yeah. I mean, on some films back in his heyday, he was really good, but lately he has gotten and become a lazy director. I mean, there are
that is.
reports that on Iron Man 3, like he didn't even care about anything, and it was mostly just like the rest of the crew directing the movie.
Ouch. Ooh, talk about a
Yeah.
burn there. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, so I think that's all of the Oh, and also the Blade announcement. By the way, what did you think of that? Because I think that sounds incredible. Like Mahershala Ali as
Okay.
Blade. That sounds awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm really pumped for that. I mean, the Blade movies definitely hold a really important part in comic book movie history. So I know that there is a lot of stakes for rebooting it, but I feel like Marvel can do it right, especially at this point where like Disney can sees them as the star child and they can do no wrong. So there's even a good chance that they might even let it be R rated, especially if things since you know Disney's open to more R rated stuff now,
I hope
in
so,
order
man.
to make sure that the movie's done justice. Because at this point, obviously, it's going to make money. It's a Marvel movie,
Yeah,
um, and as long as they market it properly, this is something like Bob Iger's even discussed.
yeah,
Like
man.
if they market that a movie is R properly, so that way people don't accidentally bring
You're
their
right.
kids to an
Oh,
R
okay,
movie,
good.
it'll be totally fine.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think that would be pretty good. So anyway, we're gonna move on to the shows here, and actually, there's a couple here that I'm looking forward to, and there's a couple that I'm just kind of like don't care about. So the first one I'm looking forward to is Falcon and Winter Soldier, man. I think that one is a
oh yeah,
dynamite idea. I think it's gonna be awesome. That is a fantastic idea for a show. Like the Falcon and Winter Soldier have both been like pretty good characters, like overall. I know like they don't get like a lot of like screen time as like Captain America and Iron Man and maybe even Spider Man, but I still think they're both like solid characters that would be primed for a TV show. You know what I mean?
oh yeah. No, I like this idea. Like when it was announced, I actually like laughed because the whole idea for it started as a joke from Anthony Mackie,
Mhm.
where he was saying that he and Winter Soldier should get a buddy cop TV series, and now
It's
it's
actually
here.
happening. It's like, hey,
Um, but I'm really excited for it. I'm like Winter Soldier and Civil War are like two of my favorite Marvel movies. and they're definitely a big part of it. And I'm really interested in seeing them actually get the
Definitely. And
spotlight.
let's go over some of the cast that's been announced here. So we're gonna get the Emily V. Camp back.
Van
Van
Camp,
Camp.
yep.
Sorry. Oh man, I'm really tired today. And we're gonna get like the U.S. We're gonna get Daniel Bruhl back as
Zemo,
Zemo. Zemo. That's right. And we're gonna get U.S. Agent played by like Russell Crowe. I mean, not Russell Crowe's.
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell's, who is I
Yep.
think is Kurt Russell's son, right?
Is he? Oh, you know what? Yeah, I've actually met him. He's really
Oh
cool.
yeah, really? How did you do that? Man, that's
I was at a
frustrating.
it was an early screening for Everybody Wants Some.
Oh,
We
okay, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually met most of the cast at this
Oh
point.
yeah, that's
Honestly,
pretty
everyone
awesome.
except Daniel Bruhl.
Yeah, like he was in this like great little film like produced by J.J. Abrams last year called Overlord, which I didn't see in theaters, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't because it's so solid, man. It's like this zombie like World War II film. He was great in that. I mean, he didn't like steal the
Hmm.
show, but I still think he was like a solid like thing in that. He was also in 22 Jump Street. I think he was in a small cameo, but he was also in
Yep.
like
No, he's a solid actor. If you haven't seen Everybody Wants Some, it's definitely one I recommend. It's from the same director as Dazed and Confused,
oh nice.
but it has some amazing character work, and he's one of the characters that gets quite a bit of focus.
Badass. That's badass, man. So yeah, I think this one is a solid idea, and I hope it pans out. And I'm glad it's the first one out because I don't know about you, but if it was like another one like Loki, I would have been like, oh, that's a bad idea. But anyway, we're
Yeah,
gonna go.
I'm definitely excited for it though because both characters are cool, and it'll be cool to see like when even like go into the Winter Soldier, into Bucky's view,
Yeah,
since he hasn't honestly gotten too much focus since Civil War.
yeah. I think
But he is like a deep character that we don't see much of.
yeah, I think that's been kind of a mistake because Sebastian Stan can be a fantastic actor, and he was actually in this movie that with Margot Robbie that came out like I think like 2 years ago, 2017, called I Tanya. He was great in that, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was a solid movie, and I think he was like one of the highlights is like the abusive husband, and yeah, it was good. I think he was in like another one as well. Like it was. Oh, I think he was in The Martian in a smaller role as well, and Logan Lucky. Oh my gosh, love Logan Lucky. That's like it's from one of my favorite directors, Steven Soderbergh. It starred Channing Tatum.
Yep.
That's such a good movie. Gosh,
Yeah, and Adam Driver, right?
I forgot. Like people overlook that movie so much. It's like, oh man, nothing original comes out in Hollywood, and yet a movie like that comes out like in wide release, and nobody goes to see it. I'm
Yep.
pissed.
Now, original stuff comes out of Hollywood all the time. Just no one pays
Yeah,
attention
it's
to it.
it's, it's just really. We'll get into that like later, also in the
Yep.
fandom section, and like the critiques of Hollywood. So yeah, good show. I can't wait for it. Next one on the docket here. The WandaVision show. Like, what is your like initial thoughts on this as a whole, in your view?
I really like Scarlet Witch's character in the MCU and how she's like struggling with her power. And Vision, at least before he died, was going through the same stuff.
Yeah,
And it'll be cool to get Vision back because Paul Bettany's awesome.
yeah,
But I think this will be a really cool one to see, like, to watch up close as like Wanda like explores more of her
yeah,
power. And like from what we've gotten, like she's going to basically create like her whole new like reality for her and Vision to live in.
yeah. Definitely, absolutely.
Which is going to be like 50s themed. I've seen like some concept art for it, and it's honestly going to be a really unique
Yeah,
show. I don't know like what the conflict's going to be,
yeah.
um, but yeah, but they're even bringing back a few other characters like Monica Rambeau from Captain
Oh yeah,
Marvel,
I got yeah,
Darcy Lewis from the Thor movies, and then Randall Park's character from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
yeah,
They're all
yeah.
coming back for this movie. I don't know how, but
Teona Paris is like the name of the Rambo actress. So yeah, that should be pretty cool actually. And Kate Dennings is going to be back, which
yeah, Kat Dennings and Darcy Lewis.
I'm a little bit mixed on that because like
I like Kat Dennings. Her character in the Thor movies was a little bit annoying at times, but I feel like that was the point. Um, and honestly, I feel like the show could use some comic relief.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
And I feel like Kat Dennings and Randall Park can
Yeah,
deliver that for sure.
I disagree with the Kat Dennings thing. Like even like outside of like her like Marvel stuff, I still kind of find her quite annoying. She's like to me is like chalk, like chalk, like scratches on a chalkboard. Like, but that's just me.
That's fair enough.
And maybe she can turn me around in the show or another movie. Like, isn't she like in the fucking House Bunny movie with like Amy Poehler?
Oh, I do not
I,
know.
I, I'm gonna look that up here. Like, say, see here, Kate Dennings movies.
Kat Dennings.
Kat Dennings, sorry. Oh gosh, I keep thinking it's Kate Dennings, but it's Kat Dennings. Okay. Oh wait, damn, she was in that movie. She was also in the 40-Year-Old Virgin. I completely missed that, and like a lot of other stuff. This like weird Robert Rodriguez movie called Shorts, which I like oddly remember seeing like at 7 years old. So yeah, that's something. All right.
She's also in a 40-Year-Old Virgin,
Oh
and
yeah,
she's annoying in that,
yeah.
but it's effectively annoying. So I
It's
like that.
effectively annoying. I just
Well, like it's balanced well.
effectively annoying. Gosh, that sounds awesome when you say that out loud. But yeah, anyway, moving on. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. So the next one I believe is let's see here. I'm actually not a huge
Loki.
fan of like that's actually my least favorite Judd Apatow film, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I just think like there are better movies than that. It's probably because I'm like a nerd, so I take a little bit of a personal offense to it. But I'm just joking, not really. I don't know, but I'm more of a fan of like funny people and or Trainwreck than like 40-Year-Old Virgin. But that's just me. I just think the movie kind of looks kind of ugly. Yeah.
I really like 40-Year-Old Virgin. Maybe it's just because I like Steve
Yeah,
Carell.
Steve Carell's awesome. He's that's
But
that made him.
I like the comedy in it. And it does it's thematically like strong, powerful too. Like everything like ties into its story.
Yeah, like what was the main message of that movie again? I don't know.
Um, I feel like it's just kind of like not being afraid to like it's complicated, but it's like about like not letting your life just kind of like pass you by and actually kind of like going for what makes you happy.
There you go. That's pretty cool. That's a good movie. Yeah, it's a good movie. I will give you that. And it did make Steve Carell like uber popular, but you know I don't know.
Yeah. That in The Office, they came out like the same year.
Yeah. I'm just more of a fan of like funnier people. And that Pete Davidson movie that he's going to be doing, it comes out I think like next year. Yeah, Pete Davidson, which I've been keeping up on his work and I actually love his work and hopefully that's like another like train wreck type of situation there where it sort of like blows up and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I would say
Although honestly, Pete Davidson's, I really like his comedy. I really like him on SNL, but I feel like he's done so much controversial stuff that like honestly, he has one more strike and he's probably going to be blacklisted.
oh yeah, ouch.
Although he is going to be in the Suicide Squad, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just think it'll be good. I hope it's good, man, because it's Judd Apatow and he does make good movies. Like,
Yep.
I think his most underrated one, and I've said this probably like a bunch of times, but I do think I think funny people. I think funny people is is criminally underrated. If you know what I mean.
Yep.
Such.
You know, Judd Apatow's a great director. I mean, he also directed 40-Year-Old
Yeah.
Virgin. So.
Yeah, and speaking of like Adam Sandler, and I'm sorry we're getting off track here. That like, do you hear
No,
that
you're
he's like probably going to be in an Oscar nomination this year with this like A24 film. I gotta think of the name here. It's what's the name of it here? What's the name of it here?
I'm looking it up.
It's Uncut Gems. Like I saw the trailer for that a couple of days ago, and it's really good. And he's finally stepping out of his fucking comfort zone of these like dumb Netflix movies. Like Jesus Christ, man, right? You know what I mean? Like I love that. I'm like very frustrated with him because he can do so much better than like Little Nicky and Grown Ups and shit like that. It just pisses me off a little bit, but you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
now it seems to be getting good reviews, and it's getting like a release at like the very end of the year, which typically is a good sign because that's an award season slot. So.
Anyway, I'm sorry for getting off track there because.
No, you're good.
Yeah, that's really good. But anyway, we're gonna move on here real quickly here. So the next one is Loki. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not care about this one at all. Like it's just oh my god. Like I am just really, this show represents everything wrong with Marvel in my view, which is that they keep bringing back characters over and over again, and I'm just like, come on, man, let's let Loki go here, right? Come on, like he died in Infinity War, it was powerful. Let's just leave it at that, right? That's just me.
I am kind of in the same boat. I mean, obviously, I want more to see more of Loki
Yeah,
because he's a cool character, and it'd be really cool to see him get the spotlight. But at the same time, I was kind of disappointed when I figured out that it's going to be following the Loki in the alternate universe where he took the Tesseract,
yeah,
because it basically like the last few years since 2012, he's been getting really good character
yeah,
development. Thor, the Dark World, dare I say it, and then
yeah,
Thor Ragnarok, and then the end of Infinity War. And he had a really good arc, slowly becoming like, an actual hero, going against his evil nature.
yeah,
Whereas this show is just going to go right back to him being evil. It's going to throw away all that character development. And
yeah,
honestly, it's just going to take place in an alternate universe. So
yeah.
I don't know if there's any point in watching it, except for the fact that it might cross over with
Yeah.
Doctor Strange
You know,
in
there you
the
go.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. So yeah, I not much more to say about it. It's just, whatever. I don't care. What if? This is one I wasn't interested in before, but once I saw like those like little like clips online, like it started to look better for me. The animation looks pretty cool, and this is like one of the risks that I think Marvel could definitely take here, which is like these what if shorts. Like they keep like saying like Marvel films don't like Marvel content doesn't take a lot of risk, and I would say this whole slate here could probably like change that like perception. It's like, holy shit, Marvel can actually take like really like cool concepts and makes interesting stuff out of them. And I think they've been doing that for a while. But I think this is going to be the true like turning point um, for this. So yeah, there's going to be like it's going to have 23 episodes. And by the way, all these shows are going to be weekly. By the way, because
Yep.
Disney's pretty fucking smart about that. If we're being honest, there, you know, Disney's good at what they
Yeah.
do. Like, and sometimes that stuff isn't great, but they're good at what they do. So yeah, it's gonna be 23 episodes. It's gonna go over most of the Marvel movies. I'm not really sure about the Spider-Man ones because those are kind of like owned by Sony.
Yeah, Spider Man's going to be off the table at this point.
Oh gosh, it sucks so bad. We'll get into that later. I know so much. I got so many strong feelings on that one, both good and bad. But yeah, so like, what do you think of this?
I'm really excited. I really like the What If comics
Yeah,
from Marvel. Although honestly, most of my favorite What If comics are Spider Man related. Like when he gets 6 arms. But honestly, I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to show a lot of hypothetical scenarios, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Like showing Peggy Carter becoming
Captain.
basically Captain America. Although she's not going to be
She's gonna
America,
be Captain
but
Britain, right? Ah, there you go.
Captain. She's just credited as Captain Carter right
Yeah,
now. So,
that would be pretty cool. I hope it's gonna be awesome there.
and I like that they're bringing back like almost all of the cast to
Yeah.
revoice
Besides
themselves. Like,
Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, they're like, I'm done. Sorry.
well, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. might be coming back for Black Widow.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I
Um,
forgot to mention that he may come in for a cameo, but I'm like kind of doubtful. It's probably just gonna be like a repeat scene for something,
yeah, the rumor is that it's just going to be like showing one of the scenes from
and I
Civil
think
War
that's
again.
kind of good because come on, like he wants to do different things.
Um, I'm sure if they did ask Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr., they would come back because I mean, both of them are still huge Marvel fans. Chris Evans has even said he wants to work with them again.
That sounds pretty
Um,
cool.
and I mean, there's a big difference between having an actor come back for 90 days to be in a film and they have to do their facial hair differently,
Yeah.
and then just having them come in for a day in a sound booth, say, "All right, say these 5 lines."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that they could do that. Yeah. I would say, okay, yeah. Speaking of like the makeup stuff, like that Chris Evans like old man stuff in Endgame looks really good. And I know spoilers, but come on, the movie made like $2 billion and it passed Avatar. Like, come on, let's be real here. Like you've seen it, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
pretty.
most of
I
the
thought the
makeup done on him was actually, or most of the
CGI.
work done on his face was, yeah, it was CGI. Like about 10% of it was actually makeup. And then they just CGI'd over it because there's some stuff that you really can't do with makeup when trying to age someone like super realistically.
There you go.
Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, Marvel has like had some of that technology in
Mhm.
almost every movie now since like Ant-Man. Um,
Yeah. There you go.
so
Yeah. So that's gonna be pretty cool. And I think the final one that was announced for like Phase 4, I believe, was
well, there's a few more
damn
after
it,
that one,
few
but yeah,
more. Damn it. Okay. Hawkeye. This is one that I'm also looking forward to as well. I know there's like one that I just don't care about, but the rest of them I'm kind of like, yeah, I could. I'm pretty looking forward to Hawkeye, and it's gonna start Jerry Moreno, and I think there's been like an actress announced. It's Liam Steinfeld, Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, she's been really good in a lot of stuff lately.
there's no confirmation yet. I mean, there have been
Information,
like
but
rumors, but none of those rumors have really good
there you
sources.
go. I get you. Wait, wasn't she?
But yeah, they definitely are going to cast a Kate Bishop,
Yeah.
and that's still kind of left open
Yeah,
ended.
so she was in like True Grit, Edge 17, both movies that I loved, and also went to the Spider Verse. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's
and
pretty
yeah,
good.
I'm a big Haley Steinfeld fan,
Yeah.
but I'm not really confident she's going to be in this,
Oh
honestly.
man, that would suck if she wasn't. But oh well, it all works out in the end, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I am excited for the Hawkeye show though, just because like it is going to show Kate Bishop, who's really cool in the comics. She's got like a really like dark past, which will be really cool to explore on screen. And then they've also confirmed that it will explore a little bit of Clint's time as Ronin
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
Endgame, so that will be cool. And I'm sure it's just gonna be like
Flashback
flashbacks, but
stuff like that. Yeah.
like that one scene in Endgame with like the fight that was all like one shot was like phenomenal,
All right.
and I'd love to see
And
more of
I
that.
was actually looking up, like while you're doing that, I was actually looking up right here that like Kate Bishop, it was from the Hollywood Reporter. There was like a report there, but I'm not really sure about that. I don't know. I'm not gonna like,
Oh
confirm anything here because let's be honest here. Like I'm the
yeah, no, I see the report
yeah.
now. But yeah, apparently she's been offered
So
it is one report. So, but whether or not she actually accepts it is completely different. Since Haley Steinfeld is actually like a movie star at this
real.
point, and taking on a TV show would really, really
That's
take
true.
up her schedule.
Yeah. Anyway, whew. All right, we got three more shows, then we'll talk about the Spider-Man thing. And so yeah, we'll get through these ones. So Miss Marvel. Gonna be honest with you, this looks kind of okay to me. I'm not like one of these like SJW types, like, oh man, it's this lady show, but whatever. It's just I don't know. I don't know much about this thing, and I hope it's good. I hope it's solid. Uh, yeah,
Miss Marvel's really
yeah.
cool in the comics, at least from what I've seen.
I read some of her
Um,
comments.
and so I feel like there's a lot of potential there, and then also there's also a lot of potential for having
Yeah,
more
definitely. Yeah, I'm
diversity
all for that.
in the
Definitely.
MCU. Since I do believe she
Yeah,
is Muslim in the comics, and I feel like that could be like a huge eye opener for a lot of people who are like, "Oh, Muslims are bad." Like you show, like, no, this one's
yeah,
a superhero, and
yeah.
she's
You know
awesome.
what I would actually, like I will give it this much, and I know like a little bit about her, but I wouldn't say I'm like a Miss Marvel aficionado. But I will say like with like all these other shows we're gonna talk about, they're like all new characters, which is something that I'm actually looking forward to. Like they're just not gonna be like the
Mhm.
established stuff. It's gonna be like new, interesting characters. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Plus, her abilities are really cool.
She has like stretch ability,
They're
right?
kind of like Mr. Fantastic, but yeah, she has the stretching things, but like she can do more than that too. She's like Mr.
Yeah.
Fantastic bumped up a level because she can also like shrink herself like Ant Man. She can
Yeah.
grow into a larger size. It's pretty cool, and I feel like that'd be really cool to see on screen, and it would add like a new element that we haven't really seen in
Totally agree.
superhero movies
I,
or
I'm gonna
good
like I'm gonna
superhero
pass this
movies
question to
because
you. Do you think she
fantastic.
could like maybe replace Spider-Man as like the face of the MCU? Because I think like this character could totally like strengthen up Captain Marvel, like Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, and like there's been like a lot of okay, I'm probably gonna like get out of that. I'm gonna like talk about that later, but yeah, this like, do you think like she could be like the new Spider-Man by any?
Oh, absolutely. Not just like in terms of like taking over like one of the starring roles, but also like her character, at least in the comics, is very, very much like what
Yeah,
Peter Parker is in the MCU. Like she's a huge fan of like other superheroes. She's like follows like movies and everything. Like she makes pop culture references all the
yeah.
time. Like I can totally see there being like a Avengers level fight scene down the road, and then Miss Marvel will be like, "Hey, you ever see this really old movie
All
blank?" And it
right,
would fit her
that
character
makes a lot of
perfectly, even though
sense.
it's
Like
Spider-Man
I
gimmick.
think all of this was planned like before like the Spider-Man thing. This is like a contingency plan like if Spider-Man wasn't out there. Anyway, we'll
Yeah, I mean the Spider-Man negotiations
yeah,
have been going on for
we'll
like
talk about
6
that
months
later
now,
there.
so they've.
So the next one is She-Hulk. This one sounds pretty good. Like I'm not sure like there's not much information about it, so like I can't like say I'm like excited or pumped for it yet. But yeah, I've heard like a lot of good things about the character, and the Brooklyn Nine-Nine star Stephanie Beatrice really wants to play She-Hulk. So yeah, we don't know much
Mhm.
about it yet, so I can't really comment on it. But the other one, the next one, I think we're going to talk a lot about. But what do you think about this?
I'm really excited for She-Hulk. A lot of people have been complaining, like, "Oh, they're just making a female Hulk because of
Yeah,
socialism or whatever."
feminine.
But I'm really excited for it because she's actually like a very different character from Hulk in the comics because she can like control her rage, and she's like honestly a powerful woman both physically and also like mentally. I mean, Jennifer Walters is her alter ego, and she's a lawyer. Which I mean, I guess they've already done that with Matt Murdock, but it'll be honestly really cool to see it because like she's depends on the comic, but she's
Yeah,
pretty public with her identity. And I feel like that could fit really well into the MCU. And then like I don't know if there's still an argument with the Accords or whatever, she could come out with that and like she could actually like kind of defend her identity as Jennifer Walters while still fighting as She-Hulk. And I feel like the two of those different kind of characters who are still the
uh,
same
I-
uh,
okay, yeah,
could basically make a really cool superhero that can fight
yeah,
on both
definitely. I
levels.
would agree
If
with
that makes
that,
sense.
like full heartedly. So yeah. Whew, all right, we're gonna move on to the other one here. Like none of these like shows I'm like dreading at all. I think Miss Marvel has like a lot of great potential. I just don't know a lot about it just yet. Like get it to like say, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
this is gonna be great just yet. But I'm pretty sure it will be good. I think. And the last one, this one's probably a lot of controversy. Moon Knight. So like the one thing we know about Disney Plus and is that it's gonna be more of a family center type of things. But this one's but Moon Knight's kind of like an R-rated character. So my question is, are they gonna like maybe put this in the Mandalorian type of like category where it's gonna be kind of more edgy and dark and stuff like that?
I'm seeing it going to be. It's probably going to be about the level of the Dark Knight
All right, I can see
movies,
that.
in
Like
terms of like grittiness, because
yeah, yeah,
Moon Knight is like a lot of times in the comics he
yeah.
is based on Batman, depending on which
Which one?
comic you're reading again. But uh, and like a lot of people say like he has to be R, but like he doesn't necessarily have to. I mean, he is like
Yeah.
he's a really cool hero. And he's got like a lot of cool action, and honestly, the cinematography has a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
dude, I'm
really good
actually gonna
potential
miss
in this
this one
show.
so much. Like it's gonna be
Um, yeah, the comics are visually gorgeous, and I'm sure
yeah,
the show is going to be like that too. But like, it doesn't have to be TV mature. I'm sure they can definitely pull it off with a TV 14 or PG-13 rating, while still
yeah.
keeping it true to the
I
comics
think
and
this.
what he's supposed to be. I mean, not every movie and show has to drop the F word and have a bunch of
Okay, we're
blood
gonna
in
get
order to
into
be
that
good.
like in a bit later because that's been sort of bugging me a lot. So yeah, I this is a show that I'm looking forward to so much because I'm curious about how they're gonna take it. And again, we don't know a lot about it just yet. That's probably because like they have like so much crap they have to do before these shows. So yeah, I hope it's good. I think it will be. Kevin Feige will be good. Do you actually one more thing? Do you know like how long he plans to stay at Marvel? Because like I've been watching the John Campea show that he's probably going to be leaving in like a couple years maybe, but I'm not really sure about that.
I think I don't know exactly, but I believe for some of the films and shows coming up, he's stepping back as like producer.
All
He's
right.
more just an
So you could like
executive
work on some
producer.
good stuff maybe. I think he'll probably take over
Um,
Alan Horn's position at some point.
yeah, so I feel like going forward, he's just going to kind of be like right now he's both like the puppet master and like the person actually doing like a bunch of like the
Yeah.
producing work on the show, on the movies
Yeah.
and everything. I feel like going forward, now that Endgame was his big film, he's probably going to step back and just be a
Yeah, and
puppet
just sort of like
master.
step back and just sort of,
Um,
like take
yeah,
some of the reins off and, you know, get a little experimental, which is gonna be kind of fun. I think that could be cool.
but I don't see him actually leaving though, since I mean, he didn't start as like a producer or whatever. He started as a
Yeah,
Marvel
that's true.
employee. And I feel like he's probably not going to leave until the MCU is done. And like he might step back some of his power, but he's not going
Yeah,
to
I will agree
absolutely
with you.
retire
I don't think
until his movies are
I
retired.
think eventually he'll probably like take over like the Alan Horn position of Disney because like I think he's being groomed for that. That's just me.
Uh, I don't honestly, I don't think so. I mean, he's got a really good
Yeah,
position
I
right
hope so.
here. And having him be Alan Horn just kind of wouldn't be what he's made for, because he's made to tell
Yeah,
Marvel stories, whereas Alan Horn is just
yeah.
supposed to
I
oversee a
hope you're
bunch of
right though,
random
because
films.
man, that would be like a huge blow to the MCU. But I'm not Kevin Feige, and I'm not him. I'm not gonna like force him to stay there if he doesn't want to. But anyway,
Oh, he wants to. He's like
oh
one of the
gosh,
biggest
I
Marvel
hope so.
fans on the
I
planet.
hope so.
um, which is why the movies are so good, because it's run by a
Yeah,
guy who
and
actually
speaking
cares.
of caring, so Spider-Man, haha, this kind of ruined my summer a
Yep,
little bit, but I have mixed
here we
feelings on
go.
this, like a lot. So Spider-Man's out of the MCU, everybody, haha, and I don't know what to think about it because the waters are so fucking muddled. Like there's just so much crap out there, and apparently like Midnight Edge has like murkied them like even more. Have you like watched one of those Midnight Edge videos about the Spider-Man stuff? It's crazy, man. It's like a
No, I have not.
clusterfuck. So do you want to start it off? Like, you probably know more than I do.
Um, yeah, honestly, I mean, I've already known this from the beginning, and so was like most people. Just the
Yeah,
deal with Sony was never meant to last forever, and like Kevin Feige's even stated that
yeah,
in the last like month or two. It was just
yeah.
for a couple films, and so I always had the feeling like Sony's probably not going to keep it go or keep this connection going.
Boy, do I feel like a
Um,
jackass right now.
but
Because I thought it was going to go on for like a couple more movies, but it wasn't.
yeah, I mean, honestly, like it had a strong potential, and after how good the movies were doing, especially Far From Home, I was thinking like, all right, they're definitely going to keep it going. But at the same time, it would make sense. Like they were
Yeah,
fine still going, Sony was, but it was
yeah,
Disney that was basically calling it out. And I kind of see both sides, because Disney came to renegotiate the deal, and it was, I can't think of the name of the guy, but it's one of the executives at Disney that was in charge of the negotiations, and he
uh,
never liked the Sony deal,
why?
especially after they acquired Fox, because he started to want Feige to focus more on the Fox
Like,
properties than Spider Man. Because Feige was working on Far From Home or on the Spider Man movies for absolutely no pay, and so like Marvel's powerhouse right now, they can put
yeah,
out 3 movies per
yeah,
year. But one of those movies was Spider-Man, which they can make no
yeah.
profit off of. So
So
they came back with a 50-50 deal, and
I think
Sony
that
shot it
50-50
down.
deal was kind
And
of
then,
outrageous to begin with because I don't know about you, because
yeah.
like, and this is like kind of sad that like the one thing holding up an entire studio is Spider-Man. Like, picture how sad that is actually when you think about it.
Oh, Sony has not been in good shape. Like, honestly, like the last couple of years with Jumanji and Spider-Man, they've finally gotten back like on their feet. But like 5 years ago,
Yeah,
Sony was
it's kind of
crumbling.
a fluke there, and I'm like a little bit worried. Like, oh man, I don't know, man. This whole I'm like so bummed
Yeah.
about this, but I just need to ask. So is Tom Holland still actually Spider Man? Is that still a thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. Those the Spider-Man movies are still going to keep going. They just can't
I mean,
reference like
I can
Tony
see
Stark or
that
the Avengers.
because like Tony
Happy can't
Stark's
be in
dead,
it.
so like this could be, and I think like the post credit scene is actually like a great way to like segue him into his own world, maybe because Like the world knows by that. So I think this
Yes.
is like a kind of a blessing, maybe in disguise. I don't know.
Yeah. Plus, we don't have to worry about the next, Spider-Man villain being a
I don't
former
know.
Stark employee this
I
time.
love both Far From Home and Homecoming. They're actually both my favorite MCU movies. I get a lot of flack from like a bunch of Spider-Man fans. Like it's kind of crazy how much they hate me for liking those movies. It's scary.
No, they're good. They're good movies. I mean, Homecoming wasn't necessarily like a good Spider-Man movie, but it was still a really solid movie, and it didn't just reboot Spider-Man by killing Uncle Ben
Yeah,
and going through the whole great powers, great responsibility thing. It took the character in a new
yeah.
direction, which I
I
really
don't know.
enjoyed.
Yeah, I still I kind of agree with you on that point, but that's part of the reason why I loved it so much is that it the same thing over and
Oh yeah,
over again. It's just and this is like a big problem I have with comic book fans is that if it doesn't follow the exact formula of the comics, then it's not a good movie. It's like, guys, take a chill pill here, guys. I mean, look, if you don't like the movie, fine,
yeah.
whatever. But I'm just tired of all this like, if it's not comic book
I
accurate,
feel like
then
that's
it's not
kind
good.
of one of the issues that.
And that's just me. And we'll get and I'll talk about that in the fandom
Yep.
section like more, but I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
I agree. But
yeah,
I really like the Spider-Man movies, and they're going to keep going with at Sony, and it's not going to be Feige helming them. So honestly, we could. There's a strong possibility that Sony could go back into their old habit of having total studio
yeah.
control over
And there's actually like
movies.
a
So we can get
team
another Amazing
announced.
Spider-Man 2 and
I think
Venom.
I think the one hope for it being good is that they get Phil Lord and Chris Miller like as the director, and they're doing like a bunch of Spider-Man stuff anyway. So like why not just like focus all their efforts into this new Tom Holland Spider-Man movie and get them involved and make them like
That
make a solid movie on their own. You know what I
that
mean?
that,
Like my big worry
that
is that
could.
they are gonna like literally bully. They're gonna get a small time director and they're gonna bully him into making the movie they want. Which I'm like, that's probably what Marvel does here and there, but like
Yeah.
that's just a terrible sign. And the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is awful, and the first one as well is not good either. And Venom. Oh, I
Yeah.
know people like say it's like this like great thing, but like really, is it? No, it's
No.
a
The
bad movie.
studio
And again,
killed it.
look at like the only good Spider-Man movie they've made in the past like 10 years, not 10, like in the past like of this decade has been Into the Spider-Verse. But and I know people are gonna say, "Oh man, Spider-Man 1 and 2," but that's not Sony. That's Sam Raimi. Like, don't get your like,
Hmm.
don't get your like what is the word here? Like don't let them take credit for work they didn't do because that's Sam Raimi, all right. And even the third one, they kind of like meddled and it kind of turned into disaster. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's a bad studio, but
Oh yeah.
I'm a little worried about they're like that they're gonna like just like meddle this shit to death and it's gonna be muddled and we're gonna have to reboot again with the fucking thing and it's gonna be like another like Venom
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man crossover, which I'm like, oh, that's just make a good Venom movie first, all right? Then we can talk about the crossover stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll
Yeah,
see how Indie Circus does with Venom too. I
yeah.
really like Indie Circus. I'm
I
sure Venom
think
2 will be
all
fun.
of this will probably work out eventually. It'll probably take a couple of years, but like once both sides kind of calm down, I think there'll be some like hope again. You know what I mean? But I'm not sure. I'm not gonna like hype anybody up here. But I am a bit disappointed about this because
I'm really hoping that
yeah
for the third Spider-Man, they do bring back John Watts, who directed
I
Homecoming
I
and
highly
Far From
doubt
Home.
that.
Since the rumor is that they're trying to make a
Yeah,
trilogy of trilogies for
yeah,
Spider-Man
I don't
movie
know.
or for Spider-Man movies, and the first three would take place in high school. And John Watts has done a really good job.
I will agree.
Um, and
But
I feel like since they got rid of
doesn't he have like
Spidey,
a new horror film coming out here soon? He's probably gonna work on that first before he does the thing. So I would probably count him out. Is that I think here it is. I think I got it right here. Horror movie. Yeah, because I know he's like doing something with like Michael B. Jordan, but they got the writers back for the first one from the first two. So yeah, and going back and getting my ideas of Fire From Home, like that's actually my new favorite live action Spider movie. Behind so my list is Spider-Man 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Actually, no, scratch that. The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 1, uh, uh, Spider-Man 2. Actually, no. Homecoming, Spider-Man 2, and Far From Home as my live-action Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse is probably like my number one favorite Spider movie. And look, I know we're saying, "Oh man, that's Sony," but yeah, not really though. That is Phil Lord and Chris Miller. That's not Pascal. That's creatives
Yep.
doing stuff with that. So I do think I do hope that this like will work out like okay because my god that would be like a huge waste of like a waste of like this incredible Spider-Man and
Oh yeah, no, I do agree. There's a lot of potential for Tom Holland Spider-Man going
and
forward,
one other thing
and yeah, I'm just really hoping that Sony doesn't mess it up. But I feel like at this point they may have learned their lesson about just kind of letting a
I
director do their thing as after they've had the success with
I'm not
Far
too
From
sure
Home
about
and
that man because
Spider
of
Verse.
Venom man. I'm not too sure.
Well, Venom,
Yeah.
they know Venom is not good.
Paid like a bunch of money for like some
They
weird
do know
reason.
that. So
Like how did that movie make $800 million like dollars like at the box office? How? Like it's a fluke. And like
yeah,
and Spider-Man Into the
yeah, I don't know
Spider-Verse
how it
makes
made that
like
much money.
over like 300 million, which deserved more, man. Like I'm sorry that movie was better than any of the
Yeah,
movies that came out like during that time. Probably even better than Aquaman, which I
but I mean, after Spider Verse won an Oscar, though, I mean that's definitely got to be a huge wake up call to them. Be like, hey, if we just let the direct, I mean, Spider Verse won an Oscar, and then Far From Home earned over $1 billion and made
that's
was the
gotta
most
sting a
successful
little bit
Sony
because it's
movie
like technically a
ever
Disney
made.
movie. Like,
Hmm. Well, that's what they're starting to realize. They're
yeah,
realizing
I
that,
know.
and they were totally
This
cool
isn't
still working
Sony's
with
fault,
Disney. They just had
guys.
to
Like I'm
try to
not saying
renegotiate
that
the
at all.
deal.
Sony's
Disney said no.
not the enemy here. Like I'm pretty sure they're like
Yeah,
trying to like get Spider-Man back into the MCU, man. And
yeah. They said they like
yeah,
they'd be willing to like
and
to go like 30,
and
70 on the
all of
deal, and then
this
like still pay
makes
for
me
all the
hate that
budget. And
Fox merger even more. Like I just like I love Disney a lot, but that Fox merger makes my teeth like curl, man. Because it's just so fucking
yeah, that's right.
like so like just makes my stomach like twirl. You know what I mean? So anyway, before we get into the fan things, what do you think of that whole Fox merger thing anyway? Because there's been a lot of news about that coming out. Yeah,
It has its pros and cons. Obviously the con is that Disney now
that's a
owns
lot of
40%
again.
of the
I think
industry.
Disney was good where they are. They
Yeah,
had Pixar, they had Lucasfilm, all stuff they've done fantastic work on. But I'm a little worried that like Fox is going to become just the Avatar place, which I'm like, but
yeah. Well, my thing is that there is a positive side to it, and that's that like if you look at the different studios and how they control films, um, Disney's actually like at
yeah,
least in recent years is the most lenient with their directors. Like Fox, if you look at their uh, X-Men movies, those ones are incredibly studio controlled, way more than like the Spider-Man movies, and probably even more than the DC movies. Like they do not have, like the former heads of Fox did not have like a method down for like allowing a director to just kind of tell their story on screen, whereas Disney does. And so I feel like
yeah,
putting Fox under that new leadership can give us a lot more like like actually like
yeah.
uh
And there
creative
are
films that
a
are like
couple of things that I could see as like a
yeah,
positive.
rather
First
than
of all,
funny
I think they
based.
are going to continue the Planet of the Apes thing, which I think I would be okay with. Like what I think I think that's what they said like a couple of
Are
like
they?
months ago. They were continuing the Planet of the Apes stuff. Yeah, man, dude,
That's
that's a
shocking. I thought
great
that
trilogy, and
franchise
I'm
was
a little
done.
bit
They
I don't know, man. Like, on the one hand, we're gonna get some pretty cool like franchise movies, but on the other hand, we're gonna be like losing out like some original stuff. But I think Fox Searchlight will probably for that thing. They'll probably just put them on Hulu, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, I'm just excited because
Yeah,
Disney's good. They hire independent directors all the
yeah,
time, and I feel like Fox can now be like a
yeah.
safe
So
place
like,
for like independent directors to
do,
go there without
I
having to
have to
worry
ask
about
you,
like
do
a
you think they're
studio
gonna
like
keep Fox
chopping their
Searchlight
film
like
into
at
bits.
all? Because that's the one I'm worried about the most, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, Fox Searchlight is a very good studio for
So
getting like
that could be
award
like their like
nominations, which looks
independent
really
area, and
good
I
for a
think Taika
studio.
Waititi
So
is like a big part of that because
yeah. And you have to realize like Fox Searchlight isn't like a studio that makes the films.
all right,
They're basically just the ones that
all
distribute
right,
really good films. So it doesn't really cost much
yeah,
money. It's
yeah.
basically just one that
But there are
just
some
makes
like
money.
stuff there that I am a little bit worried about. Like the first of all, like I'm worried that we're not going to get like movies like Ad Astra or like Bad Times at the Royale or even Ford v Ferrari, which I think they have a lot of confidence in, right? Just because
Why not? Or
like they're not like big
why would we
box
not get those
office
movies?
draws and like Fox like had a lot of bombs this summer and Disney kind of sort of like had to like reevaluate their like ideas here, especially Dark Phoenix, right? And Stuber and Art of
Mhm.
Racing in the Rain, which none like those three weren't very good. But I hope Ad Astra does well, and I hope Ford v Ferrari does well, and I just hope those are like the saving grace of Fox. That those are gonna what are gonna save Fox from just becoming like
Oh no, absolutely. Disney knows like what Fox is made of. They're not just gonna make a Fox like a clone of Disney. Like they want to kind of keep like a lot of the Fox elements that are working the way that they are.
yeah,
And
I
Fox
hope so.
Searchlight ranks in a lot of really good like award nominated films.
Yeah,
And sure, they don't like make like as much as the X-Men movies at the box office, but they still like bring in money. And for the amount of like money that they're spending
yeah,
to
I
distribute
do
those
agree with
films,
you on
it is
that.
still
And
worthwhile
I'm not saying it's
for
all gonna
Fox. And like they're
help.
still going to keep putting out R-rated films too. Like a lot of people are worried that that's not going to happen, but like no, they're just going to release them under the Fox logo. I mean, Pulp
Really?
Fiction was released under Disney.
Didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
yeah. I just
Miramax
hope it
was
works out
owned
all
by
right,
Disney at the
and I
time.
hope all of this will be okay. But yeah, I don't know. So what do you think they're gonna do with the Fox like IP stuff? What do you think their plan is? Do you think Avatar will like determine like what they do? Because that's a huge. Is that's
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, they're definitely taking big leaps for Avatar. I mean, Avatar is one of those movies that like Disney's kind of
it's
wanted
so
for a long time, kind of like Star Wars.
yeah
Because I mean, they've had the theme park for a while now.
yeah.
But like their slate for the next couple of years, they're
I think
like
that could
evenly
work
splitting it
actually
up
okay
between
there.
Star
And
Wars
again,
and Avatar. So like
I'm
they're
not
looking at
really okay with
Avatar.
them owning like 40% of the box office. Let's be totally clear about that. That is bad. That is very bad. All right. Again, I'm not as cool as Disney is, and they have a lot of good movies that come out per year. And like especially, I think Toy Story 4 and Avengers Endgame both were rock solid. Sure, they had Aladdin and The Lion King, but whatever. They still had two solid, great movies this year. But I hope it's just not like IP
Mhm.
stuff. Like they're rebooting Home Alone for the Disney Plus thing, which I think is a good thing because that could just be like a small like thing that you just see on the streaming service. There you go, right? And also, I think they're also going to be releasing like original films on the Disney Plus thing as well, right? They got Noel. They have this other Starlight, Stargirl movie on there. So that's based on a book. So I hope Disney will like sort of like choose this thing wisely and sort of like make stuff for both kids and adults. You know what I mean? Because we need those adult type movies in cinema. And people need to go see them, right? Like stuff like Hustlers, Ad Astra. They need to do well. All right. If you care about cinema, and that
Mhm.
sounds pretty pretentious when you say that out loud. I know it is because it is. But if you want those types of movies, you gotta
Yeah.
go support them. And that's gonna lead us to our final topic of this show, which is the state of fandom. And I have a lot of opinions of this because I think it is really toxic, man. And it's sort of like taken like a lot of the excitement out of movies I would have been excited for, but because the internet has just be morphed into this like like weird, like this 4chan like incel type of like clusterfuck. It's really like just made me like dread like any Star Wars movie, any Marvel movie, any DC movie because it's gonna like or any franchise movie because it's gonna like involve just a bunch of like people complaining, whining, bitching, moaning, screaming blah, 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 at each other about stuff, and I just and I can't fucking take it anymore, man. I have to say it, man. It's really culture for me. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
no,
So, do you have any thoughts on this?
I agree. I mean, yeah, it's not fun, but at the same time, this
It's
kind of
just like
stuff's been around for decades. It's just only becoming a problem now because of the internet. Um, but yeah, it makes it like not fun.
yeah,
When you go see, like, I really enjoyed Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and then within like I was like so happy with it, and then I went home and I saw like all these Facebook posts and comments about people saying it's the worst movie ever, and then they're like
that's like so
targeting like
sad
the
though, man. That's
actresses,
really
like
sad.
trying
It's like
like
people can't like know
threatening
that like
them.
that's a
Yeah,
fucking movie for God's sakes. And here's another thing that's really pissing me off here. Do you
yeah.
get this? And we probably talked about this earlier, like on the show. Do you ever hear this thing about like some like, and especially it's always coming from like people that only go to see blockbuster movies. Like, why doesn't Hollywood make anything original anymore? Like, why is everything Marvel, Disney, Star Wars as they go to see Marvel, Disney, Star Wars stuff? And I'm like, buddy, dude, there is so much original crap on Netflix, Hulu, A24, like Amazon. So much original crap, even in theaters. Like you don't go see it. In
Even in
fact,
theaters too.
I dare say we have probably the most diverse list of films coming out this fall that nobody's going to go see because they're either going to go see The Joker or Star Wars or even Terminator Dark Fate if they're that lucky because they're I'm actually kind of excited for that one because
I
it's
don't know
gonna
how
have
that
Tim
franchise is still
Miller.
going,
That's just me.
honestly.
But I don't know. I'm just really kind of like it's starting to like really piss me off, man. It's like, oh my god. It's like get like go see something you will like, right? Like stop seeing stuff you know you're gonna hate, right? It's just it's ruining it for everybody. You're ruining the ride, man. And like the fact that like and it makes Hollywood
Hmm.
hate its audience and like all these like celebrities saying, oh man, fans suck and stuff like that. And I can't say they're wrong, man. You know what I mean? I cannot say that they're wrong. Like the Mark Maron thing saying, I
Yep.
don't really like bar movies, and this like all this like huge like uproar about it. It's like who cares, man? Like he's just a comedian, whatever. And the Bill Maher thing, even though I think he was a little bit disrespectful to Stan Lee, it's like whatever. It's just dumb opinion, whatever. You don't have to listen to it, right? Just don't give him power, right?
Yep.
It's just all this crap. Just oh my god,
Yeah, I
just
agree.
it just
People
really
just
it's
like
like
having something
ruining
to be
movies,
angry
man.
about, honestly.
And especially with like the Disney stuff, like I would dare say like now that like Marvel is going to be focusing on diversity stuff, I am dreading the geek and gamer videos, the world class bullshit videos, and have you ever heard of this guy called Film God? No, okay, never mind. Yeah,
Nope.
it's just everywhere, and
I
it's
try to stay out of that, honestly. Um,
I know
like they only really ruin the movies if you let them,
I
and so
know
like I've been doing this thing lately where I'm just trying to be positive or whatever. So
I don't
like
know
I don't
I
go
don't
into
know how you
comment
avoid those,
sections
man. Like,
as
but
much
whatever
anymore.
you do, man, A plus, man, you're doing a good job. But yeah, I just it's really frustrating the fuck out of me, man. All of this press about nothing's is that the best Hollywood can do? Like these blockbusters? Well, yeah, if you're only going to see them, like none of these movies would happen if you like went to go see like Ad Astra or stuff like Hustlers, even like those movies. If you want if you're tired of like
Yeah.
the franchise stuff, you gotta go support original stuff, man. And I'm sick and tired of like people like who should know better not knowing anything. You know what I mean? And I'm probably sounding like a gatekeeper, and I'm not trying to be, but it's just man, just let people enjoy the fun stuff. And if you don't like that stuff, whatever, go see something else, right? I'm tired of complaining about shit when there's clearly like a
Yep.
solution that you're not doing, right? Yeah. So do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up the show here?
Oh yeah, I agree. Um, Honestly, not really. You basically said it. Like, but yeah, there's like there's plenty of really good movies out there that a lot of people just kind of don't pay attention to. So, like, Next time, if you're going to go see a movie, look at all of the movies that are playing. Like scroll down, um,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
the
I
A
have the
list. I'm
AMC
trying to get
app. I
that for
always go
months
to
actually,
AMC
and you can get
theaters, and
free
like they
month.
actually.
That sounds awesome, man. It just
Oh yeah, I've got A list. It's fantastic. Um, but the AMC app, it has like for some of their like independent films, they
yeah.
have like this
Oh yeah.
gold frame
There's
around it
the
that says like artisan films. And like they'll give
yeah,
like certain like independent films or ones that are actually like really good, like these basically emblems, like to mark them so like you know that they're good. So like Ad Astra got
Goldfinch
it,
was crap.
Goldfinch got it somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Ready or Not got it, and I loved that movie. Once
awesome.
Upon
Yeah.
a Time in
Oh, hey,
Hollywood
by the
got
way,
one.
before we wrap this up, Trevor, uh, before we wrap this up here, have you seen any like good movies
Yep.
as of late? Because I have a couple that I've seen. So like, we'll wrap up the show with like the segment like, what movies have we seen? In
Well, one I saw about a month ago or whenever it came
yeah.
out
So
was
like, what
Ready or
like
Not,
was it
and
like
I
top
absolutely
10
loved that
maybe?
movie. Um, yeah, it's definitely currently in my top 10 for the year because I've got that list, but it might be knocked off. But it was really
The
solid
comedy.
because it was like a thriller, but also like it didn't take itself too seriously. Yeah, so like it was like really funny. Like it would go from like a scene of like someone like the main character like trying to run away to like one of the other characters like typing in like deals with the devil, bullshit or not.
That
And
was
I was
pretty
like,
good.
that's a
So
funny
anyway,
transition. It was a
yeah,
fun movie.
I've seen a couple here. I've seen Good Boys, saw Hobbs and Shaw, which I thought was okay. It wasn't anything like spectacular, but it's a Fast and Furious movie. But I did see this month. I saw Hustlers, I saw Ready or Not, and I'm gonna go see Ad Astra tonight because man, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not really sure about. And here's another thing about the Joker one that and I probably should talk about the Joker. We'll probably okay. Sorry, I'm what goes in my mind here. The Joker, I may or may not see because I want to go see Gemini Man because I don't know, like 3 movies like back to back seems like a lot of stuff, especially for my thing. So yeah, we'll see. And here's another thing about like another thing about the
Mhm.
fandom thing also goes back is like I think this Marvel versus DC stuff is getting out of hand. Also, like the fact that like we're comparing Joker to Endgame and Dark Knight to like the Avengers. That's just bullshit. It's like that's totally different movies. Like they're different
No, they're
things,
totally
right?
different
Like
movies.
you can't compare a Marvel movie to like something like Logan because they're different, man. They're not like the same thing. Yeah, they're comic movies, but that's like sort of saying, oh, all Western movies are the same, which they're not. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying like, and they're kind of both like good in their different
Hmm.
ways, man. It doesn't have to be this like corporate war between like who's one's better. It's like the fact that like the Joker like had like the fact that people are like getting like angry at the Rotten Tomatoes score for Joker or like another Marvel movie just kind of is like really? That's what's pissing you off? It's like, just come on, get out of here, right? Yeah, anyway, sorry about the rant there. It's just whatever. But
Yeah, I agree.
anyway, man, so I think we're going to wrap this up here. Thank you
No,
guys
you're
for tuning in here.
it,
And Trevor, buddy, it's always good talking to you about like movies and stuff. We should probably do this more often here. But yeah, Trevor, man, I love your work. Yeah, which sites can we find you on?
oh, absolutely.
Movie Web, okay.
Right now,
Yeah, awesome.
just
I'll send a link
MovieWeb.
to that at the bottom there. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
We'll be back next month with a new episode talking about Oscar runs and movies coming out in the fall. Thank you, and have a good one.